Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today's video is a plan with me for the week of Monday, the 22nd of September through the 28th of September using the August 2023 mystery of Sadie stickers. It's the really pretty kind of like moody fall kit. It's foiled in rose gold. I also pulled in this fashion doll from um, PaperDollzCo just because I wanted to try something different. So I decided to pull her in, and I wanted to use this kit because one, it's got these gorgeous dark purple colors, like moody fall colors, and this is the week that contains the first day of fall. Yep, the first day of fall was that Monday. Um, don't mind all of the dishes happening in the back. You know, we try to get these things done when we can get them done. So I wanted to pull in that little fairy girl just so because I bought like bundles from Paper Dolls and I've never used any of them yet. Not in a memory planning spread. So I wanted to really like actually start making use of my stickers. So that's why I pulled the doll in. And out of sheer laziness, actually, first it was sheer forgetfulness because I forgot this was pre-alcohol ink with um, the mysteries. The mysteries, I think they got the alcohol inks in October, I believe. And I was like, I don't really want to go digging for alcohol inks right now. So we're just gonna make do with um, like these foiled ones from Dash of Sun, um, because they're on hand, they're in rose gold, and it's perfect. And since I wanted to have the fashion person in the bottom left hand side of the page, I wanted to pull in a box to kind of provide a backdrop for her so she just wasn't chilling in the middle of nowhere. Um, so that's kind of the start of like this sidebar here. It was interesting to go back to this older Sadie stickers format because I forgot, like, I think the torn papers are still in the current format and most of the deco is still the same, but with the amount of functional pieces they used to have, I started pulling for like the torn papers more, which I didn't do beforehand because I had a lot of other we have a lot of other options with the current format deco piece wise, or like kind of layering wise more specifically. So I was like, oh, man, why haven't I been pulling in these like torn papers? And it's because, we have other options and I find other ways to do it. Um, which is interesting to see the evolution of add-ons because with like rippable washies now, um, or the decorative kits with the torn papers, you don't really need um, this style of torn paper in a collection anymore, realistically. Um, so it was just very interesting to kind of go back to an older format and um, see what was in there and what's changed. I don't really think the journaling kit or journaling page, it's not a kit, from Sadie Stickers has changed that much. Um, but it's always interesting, I guess, is what I'm saying. So the sidebar is not really anything too special. I did want to make sure I pull in more scripts or quotes or whatnot because I have so many of them that I want to use. And then I kept it actually really pretty simple with the date cover area because I didn't want to work too hard. You know how sometimes you're like, I want to work pretty hard on a kit, and other times I'm like, nah, I don't really want to. This was a collection where I was like, let's keep it a little easy. Sorry, I'm back. I had to take a call. So I have no idea what I was talking about. I think I was speaking on the date covers, I think. Um, or the date area specifically, where I kept it more simple. I did contemplate pulling in garlands, but I just decided not to because um, I wasn't feeling it. Sometimes, when you're not feeling doing the complicated stuff, you just want to kind of fall back into something easy, routine. That was kind of how I was feeling with parts of this spread. Regarding date covers themselves or date scripts, I grabbed these from Jess's old freebie from the Pretty Pink Co. I love that she had them for the longest time. They make using like these are this freebie itself is really useful. In that it has a lot of like these functional pieces. Not that I don't love her current freebie. I like her current freebie too. I like a lot of a lot of the freebies now, but I think this was one that I always went back to because it was so useful. Um, and I don't know. I like the big chunky blob of script with on the floral trim there. It just felt good. You know what I mean? So for my center bridge, I try to make use of this deco. Um, what I find interesting, or a thought process, I guess, is more how I want to say that with the um. Excuse me, about to sneeze. I think. I'm so sorry. With the Sadie's Mysteries or the Sadie's format in general is like the large deco, and how um specific it is to the collection. It kind of has, how do I say this that makes sense? Like the pieces are very specific to this collection. Not that you can't pull it into other collections, but looking at this deco, you can imagine what the kit itself, like the standard weekly kit looks like, which I guess is a good thing. Um, but this was also back during a time of repeating elements. Again, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but it's um it's of a time where people really wanted to have uh, a cohesiveness to a spread that was generated, that was achieved. I think achieved is the word I'm looking for. That was achieved with having similar elements pulled throughout the whole thing. Whereas I think now the community has kind of shifted to complementing elements rather than having the exact same element, which is, I think I came in right at the cusp of that split where it's like, okay, I want a few elements, but maybe I kind of want them like inverted or at like a slightly different angle, which I mean, with art, it's you can't just be like, all right, let me just tilt this a little bit. It's not the same thing. Um, but I think, and I know I've spoken on this before, that's part of why I struggle a lot with these kind of older kits, because they have so much repeating deco. It's hard for me to like wrap my mind around. Um, so that's me working through my like center bridge. On to the next bit was I was debating whether I really wanted to put my boxes in the column or not. Um, Part of me wasn't feeling like the tilted boxes look. It just didn't look right to me, and I think that's because of like the style of the kit itself with those kind of not paint splatter but kind of um organic edges. It didn't really make sense for me to put like squared boxes, um like to tilt them, because it felt, even though I'm about to like align it, but like it just in my head just didn't really make a lot of sense to tilt them, partner them that way. So with the box, with the lining of the boxes for this collection or this spread specifically, I know um I used a few. I'm pretty sure I used a few box liners, but probably not a lot. Actually, maybe I didn't. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. I have, for once, I have the spread easily accessible to me. Um, where are you? No, I did not use any box liners. I kind of made box corners. I made corners, but I didn't use any box liners. And oh, that's right. These camera frames. I really, um, so I have these camera, not the camera, you know what I mean, those little camera thingies. I have them in all four foil colors, but so far I've only ever used the hollow ones. So I was like, I really want to use this in other spreads. The trouble was like how I couldn't quite figure out what elements I wanted to frame inside of the viewfinder, because the viewfinder itself is kind of small compared to the deco that we have like now ish. um so it took a little bit of finagling, it took a little bit of thinking. I was just like, what am I going to put here? And eventually, because you can see, I kind of figured it out. It just took a little while on like what deco we're specifically pulling in here. So to I do think it might have caused this set of boxes to look a little busy. Um but I really wanted to pull that camera uh foil camera thing in somewhere because I bought it and I want to use it. Um so that's the thought process for that bad boy. And then this spread, I remember thinking, man, I'm layering florals on top of florals, which is um it's just not a thing I normally do. I try to avoid putting florals on top of florals. I just don't like doing that. That's just not a me thing to do. So when I do it, I just like it kind of sticks out in my head. When I do it, and I'm like, ooh, that was definitely a choice for you, cat. um that's kind of really it. I think I'm gonna finish up lining up these boxes, and then we'll move on soon, I believe. Um, it was just interesting because I do gravitate towards this kit with the deep colors, but it's very floral heavy. So I thought it was interesting that I really like this kit, but I really struggle a lot to use like floral kits. And I think it kind of I don't know if it's obvious, but to me, I can like see this and I'm like, I didn't really have a game plan. As you can see, I'm just like kind of moving across the spread and just trying to find um like places to put things, because I feel like it feels empty in my head. So I'm like, I need to like put more stuff down, but where do I put it? Like I don't know where to put it. And it's one of those like, it was a challenge to get to a place where I felt satisfied with how it came out. Um So that's why I feel like this how long is this day by day, or this base? This has been like 14 minutes of base. I feel like um it was a lot of me figuring this out. And if it's 14 minutes sped up, it was probably closer to like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Wait, what's 14 times 4? Like an hour. But that also doesn't include all like the dead time in between. Because, I don't play the camera when I'm trying to figure things out. So, we go on to the day by day. So the first thing I'm going to mark is the first day of fall, um, which I got from a freebie from a Starlight paper freebie. I got it off of that. It's an old one from I think last year actually. Then followed by a rough parenting day. Obviously I was at work, so I wasn't home this day. So it must have been must have been a rough parenting night more than day. Because we weren't off for no, we weren't off for the first day of fall. Why would we be off for the first day of fall? Well, we move on. And I think the reason it was a rough parenting day slash evening was because um, Bub just wasn't feeling well. But we didn't like how like hindsight's 2020. You're like, oh, well, that's the reason you were behaving that way. Yeah, I didn't like we didn't put 22 and two together until like I think that night or like maybe like really early in the morning. He just woke up and like vomited, and it was mostly like mucus. I'm sorry if that's TMI. Parent life. It was mostly like clear and mucusy, so he clearly wasn't feeling well, but he wasn't like really showing those signs yet until like he woke up and vomited. um so yeah, it was a rough night. It's so rough when your kids are sick because you want to do everything you can to make them feel better. um but it's so hard when they can't like clearly articulate exactly what is wrong. um and I felt so bad. I was like, well, if I knew you were sick I would have done something sooner. But these are things you learn, you start to learn your kids tells, and you're always learning. I feel like you never really get a full grasp on it. I mean, I don't know, the parents can chime in, but I feel like even though I have a pretty good grasp on parenting, um I'm always like surprised by things. So that was Monday. Tuesday we had a Dr. Coffee run. I got Happy Mail from the Pretty Pink Co. is Masquerade. I have Film Up and JK Creates Go. I don't know what that means now. And then I finished the night with a planning sesh, which I marked with that little kind of like composition there. Wednesday the 24th, uh, Sleep Token was performing in Philly. Um, Two things though, like one, I don't really do weekday concerts. I just get so exhausted, and my social battery just really needs a recharge. So even if there were tickets that weren't stupid expensive, I probably wouldn't have gone anyway because it would have been a Wednesday night. But I was still upset about not seeing Sleep Token when they were in Philly. But we move on. I remember I told my one coworker, I was like, I was like, did you know the Sleep Tokens? She didn't know either. Um, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of sad. They're like literally probably about 15, 20 minutes from us. I think they were literally like 30 minutes from my house, but I was like, yeah, I'll just have to relive it the following day. Although the thing is, I don't think I've seen a full version of the Sleep Token concert in Philly on YouTube yet. I haven't checked in a while, so maybe it's there now. Um, it was also a rainy day. I did some laundry that night to, so that's probably also partially why I'm like okay with him not having gone, because the venue was definitely indoors, but just commuting in the rain, not a fun experience. Thursday we had a Dunkin' run. We had some Chinese food that night, and then I played in my bujo. Um, and then, which we're catching up on, I figured that since I had these like kind of wild flowery type of decos, I might as well like line whatever bottom areas that were open. I might as well pull in that foiled florals just to, give it a little bit of interest. Um, since I'm like kind of caught up on the day by day, which is kind of weird. On Friday the 26th, it was my 12-week prenatal appointment. Um, it was interesting is during my first pregnancy, I kind of went to their main building, which is about 20 minutes. It's like split between work and my home. But they have, offshoot offices, and there's one literally, you know, not even 10 minutes, not even 7 minutes from my house. And I was wondering why I didn't go there like during my first pregnancy, why I always went to kind of the main one. Um, and I think I'm sort of realizing now, or maybe it's just the time now, um, that going to work from like at that time point is such a pain in the neck. Um, because even though like my current work commute, I take some back roads, more local roads. Um, but I can get to Philly straight shot on the Schuylkill Expressway, or what 76. You might have heard it, the Schuylkill Expressway. Which it's funny that it's called the expressway because it's never fast. It's only two. It's two lanes the majority of the way. The sun glare gets in your eyes, so of course everybody slows down. And like, it's so draining going it down that dang road, especially in the middle of rush hour, because that's effectively kind of when I came in, was right around like the peak rush hour. Now I commute like a little bit before rush hour, so it's not too bad. And since I take local roads, they're not. It's just not as annoying. But that commute was so irritating. I hate sitting in traffic. I'd rather be moving at a slower clip but consistently moving rather than just the stop and go traffic. And I'm sure a lot of us are actually the same, but so painful. So chaotic work commute. And then I think this was where Bub was really starting to sleep in our bed. So in Asia, in a lot of communities, co-sleeping is not like the strangest thing. It was just interesting because Bub had been pretty good at sleeping independently for a while. So the fact that he wanted to sleep in our bed, without any real reason, he wasn't like scared. He didn't really say like why. He just wanted to sleep in our bed. Um, I thought maybe it was going to be for a night or two, but it's been a while, which I'm not very upset about. It's just I get better sleep when he's not sleeping, because he rushes around a lot, kids. Um, but he started sleeping in our bed that night. Where am I? I've moved around in my notes. I'm so sorry. On Saturday the 27th, I had a blood draw first thing in the morning because they weren't able to get my blood. They weren't able to draw my blood for some tests they wanted to get done. Bub had a ride in Grandpa's car. Grandpa's car is like an old car. Um, well, he got to ride in it in and out of the garage. On the 28th, Sunday, it was a rough parenting day. I just had to unplug from socials. Like, I didn't really respond. I might have done PR things, but I just needed to unplug and just not respond to things. Um, which, if I'm just not answering right away, sometimes I just need some time to just not have to engage. As much as I love being connected in this community, there's times when I'm just like, I need to be alone. I need to be alone for a little bit. Um, and then I played in my bujo. So that's the spread. Sorry for the chaotic voiceover. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, which I think I've said that before too. But that's the spread. It's very pretty. I do love the rose gold with this one. It really works in my opinion. Um, and yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you gave it a little like, leave a comment with any of your thoughts down below. And I would love it if you join my little channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.